I've decided I'm going to put the GPS out on the wing, so that's got to go there. So I've marked it all out and I've got to carefully cut that out now, and then sink it and then glue it in place. Obviously give him room for that connector on there. I've cut the area out to go where the GPS is going to go, and I've also put a couple of carbon spars there as well, purely because it's obviously there's going to be a bit weakening there. And then that is going to go, it is quite a tight fit, that's going to go in there. And when I've completely flattened it off, there's only where are you? There's only a tiny little bit showing up above. So I've got to put the wiring in. I don't know how I'm going to do the wiring yet. I think I'll route it underneath somehow, don't know yet. I've mounted the GPS, put a piece of tape over the top of it. I'm going to paint up to, not over it, but around it. So that's that bit done. And the wires come out underneath, which I've put some, it's actually fiberglass reinforced tape that I've put over there, which I'm going to paint over. And then down to the servo, which I'm going to paint all around here. And then that goes all the way down to the end. So that's that bit done. I'll try and show you with these boom mounts. Now this one has got to go, it has to go in there like that. So the only thing is with the other one, if I mount the other one the way it's supposed to go, this screw hole here is at the top. Now I think that looks pretty crap, because they'll be like that. I can't get the bloody wing any closer because of the mount on the tripod. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut. I need to mount that way to make these things the same. So what I've got to do is I've got to cut that piece off there and stick it that side, so as they will mount, it'll mount the right way. Right, on this one here I've got to cut. What I'll do, I've done it on the back one already, I've just got to keep scoring it down there until it gets a nice groove in it, then turn it over, then score it down there and get a nice groove in it, and then that will just come off. And then I've got to stick it on this side. Now somewhere, oh, who's moved that? I have this stuff which is called plastic weld. Now it's not like super glue, it's not like, or CA glue, whatever you want to call it, it's not epoxy or anything else like that. What it is, in actual fact, is, I don't know if you can see it, see it evaporates. What it does is it bonds the plastic together, it melts it slightly and then it bonds it together, and it does a bloody fantastic job. It doesn't come off once it's on. So I'm going to cut that and stick that on there. Right, I've cut that side off. Like I say, all I did was start scoring it down there on both sides, and then you just grab it like that and just snap it off basically. And I've got that piece there. So what I'm going to do is get some sandpaper, just sand that flat, cut the rough pieces off there, rough that side up just a slight bit, and then I'm just going to stick that on there like that. So there you go, that's now glued in the right orientation. To line it up, I just use this the squares on this this mat. I can't see from this side, but just to make sure it's 100% square, you just line up with those squares, and Bob's me dad. So there you go. That will now sit the right way up, and that will sit that. Oh God. That'll sit that way, and that'll sit that way, so the screw holes are at the top rather than one being down there and one being at the top. Done. I've cleaned that up, so now it will sit in there like that, and the cover goes on there like that. Now, when you're gluing this in, make sure that you don't put any glue down this end here. The reason being is so as the boom can actually move forwards and backwards. You only need to put it on just on this piece, and then when you glue the cap on, you can glue the cap along all these areas like that. I've attached the GPS and I've tested it. So here's the bus cable. Now I've put a locking mechanism on this. Now these are the only 4-pin connectors I've got, so you know, it's turned out quite well. The only thing I don't like is this, which has just got a standard 3-pin on, so I need to find some form of locking mechanism for it. That's for the aileron servo for the left hand wing. So anyway, I've done all that. So I think what I'm going to do now is paint the bottom of this wing, and then leave it, and then I'll paint the top. So I've just got to cover the servo up, don't want to get any paint in there, and fingers crossed this bit will be alright then. I've painted that, hopefully the bubbles and everything else will disappear. Hopefully. I know it's going to shrink, so you should be able to get a bit of the texture back in the foam. Yeah, that's going to take 24 hours to set, so I've just got to leave it now. This is the horizontal stabiliser. I can't remember what you call them. Anyway, it's the bit that goes on the back that the elevator goes on here. Now on here I've actually the servo's underneath, and this actually comes out the top, because when you land this isn't going to get snagged by the grass or whatever, so it's all works perfectly. So what I've got to do is I've got to cut some slots in the back here, and I've got to attach the elevator when I can find it. I don't know where I put it. Someone's moved it. Found it. So this is the one that I've bolted a bit on the side because I cut it wrong. So that's going to go on there like that. I've done the elevator. Lift that up. So I'm now going to put the vertical stabilisers on here. I've done the rear stabilisers, fins, whatever you call them, don't care. I've used my what the hell's that called? Set square, that was him. I've used my set square just to make sure it's all nice and square. It's all perfect. Inside here I've still got to paint this. I'm going to do that black as well, and I'm going to do the both sides, and I'm also going to do the outside of the things, whatever. So the rear end is virtually done. I'm really pleased how it's come out actually. I decided to take the Easy UHF out of the fuselage because of the interference that it was going to get from the motor. It was a suggestion, it was, from someone on RC Groups to actually do it that way, but thinking again, no. Anyway, what I've got is these antenna. Oh, I've done another one. Actually, I'm quite worried about this cut because it went very deep. Anyway, so I've got these sander style antennas for the Easy UHF, and as you can see on there, I've actually soldered a ground plane on it, thereby making it into a dipole, which works a hell of a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it on in the wing. I'm going to embed it into the wing, so I'll have one vertical and one horizontal antenna like that. So in preparation, I've made these two patch leads up, so as I can hang that over the end like that, and then the other one's going to be there, and then I'm going to put that, I think, in there. The only thing I'll have to do is I might have to leave it just proud a bit so as I can get the USB connector in. But I've checked the depth of this wing, and that'll just, well, I think there's about 5mm gap. So I think what else I'll have to do is put a couple of other carbon spars along here, just to be certain. So as you've seen, yeah, my finger's still bandaged. As you've seen, I've mounted the Easy UHF here. I've got access to the USB port, and that goes on the end there, which my dipole fits on the end there, and also on this bit you screw the other dipole like that. So I've got one vertical, one horizontal. Now all I've got to do with this, I think, is paint it. I hope. But no, my luck, I've forgotten something. Like something.